Today, we're tearing down the myth of American exceptionalism and exposing the brutal realities of this country's founding and its ongoing impact on Indigenous communities. Let's start with the Declaration of Independence. Right after Thomas Jefferson proclaims that all men are created equal, he describes Indigenous people as merciless savages. This dehumanizing language in America's founding document sets the stage for centuries of genocide, land theft, and cultural destruction. The so-called freedom celebrated on the 4th of July was built on the blood of our Indigenous ancestors. American policies that led to countless massacres and forced marches has caused incredible suffering and death. We're talking about state-sponsored genocide. And the United States government just didn't stop with taking the land. They specifically targeted tens of thousands of Indigenous children with the boarding school system. The mantra was, kill the Indian, save the man. These schools were not designed to help Indigenous communities. They were designed to kill Native identities. These institutions were hellholes of abuse and forced assimilation. The trauma inflicted on these children is unbelievable. We're talking about sexual abuse, physical beatings, psychological trauma, and even murder. We know that there's unmarked graves all around the country where these institutions once stood. Then came the civilization regulations of 1880, banning cultural and spiritual traditions. Indigenous communities are not allowed to openly practice their religious traditions. They're even banned from eating certain foods. Indigenous communities obviously resisted these policies and practiced their ceremonies in secrecy. And what you learn in the American education system is mostly a lie. We're taught and conditioned to celebrate genocide and imperialism. Our current struggles are completely ignored by the mainstream media and the federal government. We're talking about the MMIW crisis, the water crisis, the high suicide rates in Indigenous communities, the destruction of our sacred sites, and the ongoing violation of treaty rights. Settler colonialism isn't just history, it's about the present moment. It's a structure, a system of control that's meant to erase us. What we should be celebrating today is the fact that Indigenous communities have always resisted settler colonialism. Because this Independence Day nonsense, this notion of freedom, it's all a fabrication and a lie. Because this thing that we call freedom was built on the genocide and the oppression of Indigenous communities. This land that we live on, what we call the United States of America, carries our traditions, our pain, and our hope for a better future. Let's continue to challenge the structures of settler colonialism and the oppression that comes with it. Now, that's something that we could be proud of. And one more thing, I'm a proud savage.